When it comes to packing for travel, the travel gear you bring with you can really enhance your journey. But there are also plenty of travel items you're packing that you might not actually need. In fact, there are several great travel items that experienced travelers just don't travel with. In this video, I'm gonna break down 12 things I don't pack as an experienced traveler and my thoughts on why. Hey guys, Nick here from Away Together. After years of domestic and international travel, my wife Allie and I really have whittled down our packing lists, and there's a bunch of things, 12 specifically, that we don't travel with. Now, I'm not saying that these are mistakes to travel with 100% all the time. Do what works for you, okay? But these are things that we don't carry with us, and we know many experienced travelers who don't carry them either. When it comes to packing for travel, neck pillows are often at the top of the list of comfort items. But these are at the top of my no-pack list. Neck pillows take up way too much space in your luggage. Realistically, neck pillows are only used during your flight or your train ride, and then for the majority of your trip, they remain unused and you're just lugging them around. Just not efficient to be carrying around. I would skip the neck pillow and opt for a more versatile item like a rolled up scarf or a jacket, which will save space and keep you from having to carry something you're not using around with you everywhere. Now, if you really do want a neck pillow, I'd look into an inflatable one that packs down flat when you're not using it. I'm a huge proponent of guidebooks for travel, like the ones by Rick Steves or Lonely Planet, but they can be bulky and heavy. I've got a shelf full of guides at home, and I use them heavily when researching for my trips, but I don't pack them anymore. In the digital age, your phone can be your guide with up-to-date apps and digital guides that don't weigh anything. I really recommend getting the Kindle version of any guidebooks you want, and then just downloading the Kindle app on your phone so that you can carry those guides with you everywhere without having to actually pack anything. Okay, I consulted my wife Allie about this next tip. If you're looking to save space in your luggage, an item that you don't have to pack is a hairdryer. Hairdryers are bulky and they can add a lot of weight to your luggage. Now, there are some great travel hairdryer options out there. Allie even has one. But when we were traveling full time, she brought that with us. We stayed in almost 50 different places internationally, and the amount of times that there wasn't a hairdryer provided was few and far between. There were times she needed the one she packed, but what I would say is, if you're pressed for space, consider whether or not you need your hairdryer, or you could bum off where you're staying. Most hotels nowadays offer hairdryers in the rooms, and you can even filter your Airbnb search results by whether or not a hairdryer is provided. All right, let's talk about money. Something I would not travel with is a lot of cash. Carrying excess cash can be risky, especially in the case of pickpockets. Now, there are some places that you may be visiting where cash is warranted and useful. This happens to us all the time. And in those instances where you need cash, don't go to a currency exchange. Don't use one of those scammy tourist ATMs in the tourist hotspots. Go to a bank in your destination after you've landed and take out the equivalent of a few $100s. If you're presented the option to use dynamic currency conversion or to have the transaction happen in your home currency, don't. Just take it out in the currency of your destination. I would also recommend carrying a couple of credit cards. Look for ones with no international fees and ones that come with some consumer protections. Now, the reason I say to carry a couple is it's good to have a backup. For example, many establishments still don't accept Amex. Me, I like travel rewards credit cards because of the opportunity to earn airline miles and hotel points, along with the ability to earn bonus points when you spend on travel-related things. When you're out and about for the day, only carry what you need. If you carry a wallet, I recommend a front pocket wallet, which isn't foolproof, but it's more likely to keep pickpockets at bay. Hey, real quick, if you're getting value out of this video, I would love it if you would hit that like button so that YouTube will know to suggest it to other travelers like you. Thank you. Experienced travelers don't travel with expensive international phone plans. One thing I used to travel with all the time was an international phone plan from my home provider. I would pay an extra like $10 a day to be able to use my phone internationally. But $10 a day really adds up, and the amount of data that we had to use was next to nothing. Now, there's a number of reasonable alternatives to this, but my favorite way, and the method Allie and I personally use, is Holafly eSIMs. Holafly eSIMs give you a way to use your device in over 180 destinations worldwide, in many cases with unlimited data and no roaming fees. It's kind of like getting a SIM card in your local country, but you don't have to go physically hunt one down. You purchase online before your trip, and then you activate the eSIM on your phone with a simple QR scan. One of my favorite things about Holafly is there are absolutely no hidden costs. Unlike other providers that don't offer unlimited data, with Holafly, what you see is what you get, and there's no need for additional data top-ups, which get very expensive. Holafly also has a new and improved mobile app that makes it easy to purchase an Esim and get 24/7 customer service in just a few clicks. If you're ready to stop paying for expensive international data plans, hit the link below and use the code AWAYTOGETHER for an additional 5% off your Esim purchase. Something you usually never need to pack is a towel. Most accommodations, from hotels to Airbnbs, provide guests with towels. And this widespread availability makes it unnecessary to bring your own. And you might be thinking, Nick, duh. If you have a specific reason to pack a towel, a packable microfiber towel could be a good option. Note, I said specific reason. For example, these towels would have come in handy for us when we road tripped around Phuket, Thailand to visit a bunch of different beaches. I wish we'd had these towels with us when we went to the thermal baths in Budapest, because we ended up paying like $10 a piece for these crappy little towels that were falling apart. But similar to some other items on this list, even the clever microfiber towel will go largely unused. You maybe won't even use it at all. I put these on a list, a category called clever travel products that you probably don't need. They're handy if you have a specific need or you're doing longer term travel, because you never know what you could get into. But for the average traveler on a specific trip, you probably do not need this unless you know you have a reason. Speaking of handy travel products you probably don't need, let's talk about luggage scales. I understand the need to weigh your luggage. Airlines have weight limits for checked bags. Most these days have weight limits for carry-on bags. But it's very easy to weigh your bag at home before you leave. You simply step onto your home scale, holding the bag, note the weight, and then weigh just yourself without the bag. Now, when could a luggage scale be good? Well, if you're trying to get a very precise weight, like within an ounce, okay, I get it. Or if you plan to buy a lot of souvenirs while you're gone and you're afraid that you're gonna exceed the weight limit coming back home, I get it. If neither of those apply to you, you probably don't need one. While on the topic of heavy things, the next thing you might not need to pack is technical, rugged shoes and clothing. A mistake I see a lot, especially for first-time international travelers, is investing a lot of money in technical hiking boots and hiking pants and things like that for a trip that they don't really plan to do much hiking on. This was me on my first trip to Europe. We planned to do a lot of walking, yes. There were several days that we walked over 20 miles, no joke, but 100% of this 5-week trip was in cities. I had absolutely no business wearing these massive chonker shoes, no business. Not only was it overkill, I looked silly. I recommend choosing simple, versatile clothing and shoes for most general travel. Items that can be used in multiple settings, from walking to a nice dinner, are way more beneficial than these rugged, single-use, very specific type of items. If you do plan on doing a lot of actual hiking, ignore me, be prepared. But if you're not, keep it simple and keep it versatile. Now, the next item might seem obvious, but full-sized toiletries, no. Full-sized toiletries take up a significant amount of luggage space. Travel-sized toiletries are much more compact, and they free up room for other essentials and help to minimize overall luggage size. For carry-on luggage, travel-sized toiletries are a must due to liquid restrictions. We're talking about 3.4 ounces or less. If you go over that, you're gonna have trouble with airport security. Now, if what you need doesn't come in a 3.4 ounce or smaller container, you could always get some sealable silicone containers like these ones by Gravel. Solid toiletries like shampoo bars or soap bars or solid deodorants are not subject to liquid restrictions, which make them great for carry-on luggage, and they're also leak-proof, which reduce the risk of things getting spilled and leaked in your bag. All right, the next thing to stop packing is cheap socks. For travel where you plan to do a lot of walking, I highly recommend investing in good quality socks. For years, I just wore basic, crappy cotton socks, and in times where I was doing a lot of walking, they would stink and they'd get wet and my feet would get blisters. And for probably 10 years now, I've exclusively worn merino wool socks in every situation. The reason they're great is because they're naturally odor resistant and antibacterial, which reduces stink. They're also moisture wicking. Merino wool efficiently wicks moisture away from your skin, which keeps your feet dry. When those cotton socks get wet, they stay wet. This is crucial for long days of walking and can help you prevent blisters. Merino is also temperature regulating, and so it keeps your feet warm in cold conditions and cool in warm conditions, which makes them nice for a wide range of climates. Merino socks are more of an investment initially, but they last a lot longer and they maintain their shape and quality throughout the years. Next on the no pack list is too many clothes. There's no need to pack a completely different top to bottom outfit for every day of your trip. Instead, I'd recommend creating a collection of simple, versatile items that look good together and mix and match well. Some people call this a capsule wardrobe, and that approach allows for a more compact and manageable amount of clothing in your luggage. Planning to dress in layers allows you to pack less and save space by avoiding bulky items. I recommend clothing that's lightweight, wrinkle resistant, and dries pretty quick. Having a set of clothes that all work well together simplifies your daily outfit decisions, and fewer clothes means a lighter bag. I tend to recommend some key merino wool pieces for this as well because they can be worn multiple times before washing. I really like the shirts from Unbound Merino. Typically, I pack 5 or 6 shirts and a couple pairs of pants or shorts for a 10-day trip, and then I try to ensure that at least one of the places we stay has a washing machine. Something I often see travelers do is pack what ifs. I saw this meme the other day. Me uses the same 3 things at home. Me packing for vacation. I wonder if I'll need 4 French horns or 5. Overpacking is often packing your fears. People overpack a lot of times because they're afraid. A way to avoid this is by packing only what you know you'll need. This helps keep your luggage size and weight to a minimum. And not only does this make traveling easier and more comfortable, but it also helps you avoid extra baggage fees. I used to chronically do this. A day or two before a trip, a thought would creep into my mind. Hey, what about this? And I'd rush out and I'd buy something or I'd pack something that I don't need and it goes completely unused on my trip. Don't give in to that. A realization that was comforting to me is there are people just like me, just like you, that also need toothpaste, that also need shampoo, that also have 1-year-old kids that need all this stuff, that also, the list goes on and on. Bring the things you need and the things that you know you'll need. Don't leave your important prescription at home. I'm not telling you to do that. But I would recommend that you stop stressing about things that you could easily get at your destination if you had to. Allie and I took our honeymoon to Iceland, and we were not prepared for how cold it would be. That's on us. One of my favorite travel memories, though, is looking for scarves in an Icelandic thrift store. The fears and the what ifs, 9 times out of 10, they're just not worth paying attention to, right? Bring a jacket, okay? I'm not encouraging you to be as freezing cold as we were in Iceland in the middle of the summer. But in the case that you forget something important, it can be a fun adventure to go find it. I hope this video was helpful to you, and if you're interested in one-bag travel and how I packed for a 10-day trip to Europe, check out this video. Thanks so much for watching. Happy travels.